Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast. I'm Joshua.
I'm Kim. Let's dive in. Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Today's going to be a fun episode because Josh just self-proclaimed himself as being negative lately, and I've been exactly the same way. Actually, recently, he's been calling himself Saucy, which is a fun word to me.
It's better than negative.
It is better than negative. So anyway, we wanted to talk about today something positive. And I hope this serves you well, but I also I hope that it helps to get us kind of out of that little rut. I feel like it's a rut. At least in my life, I feel like it's a rut.
Yeah. So where this went in my mind, like off the bat, was just like about my journey, I think. And we've talked about this a little bit, but like my career started in aviation and then switched to finance, and it's sort of been in finance all since then. And it's this like, there's something in me that's like, it's your journey that got you wherever you are isn't just a piece of the past that you have to write over and like escape from. There's like hope and purpose in where you've been and where you're going. And so Kim and I talk a lot about new financial systems and getting frustrated with the old financial systems. And that's totally true. But if we hadn't have come from where we were, like there would be no moving to the future of it. And so like even within our religious beliefs, our faith walks, like the journey of, you know, both Kim and I through the Western church, through, you know, through different ways, but through that path, like that's not all wasted. There's purpose in that. There is foundation that's being laid in those times that has enabled me to be where I am now. And I think that it's often looked at, I'll just say by me, because I don't want to generalize for everyone, but like it's often looked at as like, oh, look how immature I was. I can't believe I thought that, or I can't believe I did that. And there's many times in my life where I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, like I was really immature when I made that decision. Like I treated that person really badly, but it's just because I didn't know any better. Like I made that decision about my finances because I didn't know there was another option. Like there's just purpose in it. Like you're laying a road that has helped you get to where you are. And I think that's the hope that I want to infuse, is like it's not for nothing. There's a reason we go through things. There's a reason we experience life. There's a reason that you have the healing journey that you do, that you have the financial journey that you do. And, you know, I don't want to see people get stuck in those patterns, but there is a reason you went through it.
I think that's really good. You said it's not for nothing. I thought it's not for naught.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think as you were talking about some of that for myself, and this is essentially the angle that I can come from, I think sometimes I forget my purpose, or I forget the direction in which I'm going. Like I'm still maybe even on the journey. And I don't know that I struggle so much with, oh, those were terrible decisions, like that piece. Like I don't tend to get stuck in the past too much. However, I do tend to get stuck in the present, which is why this whole negativity thing is coming up. Like I know that how I am built, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I know that how I am built is I tend to be a futurist. It does not mean that I don't value the past. It does not mean that I don't value the present or enjoy the journey. It is just that I have a really clear vision for where I'm going. right? And sometimes, because of how I'm built, if I get too focused on the small things, the minutia of what's happening right now, I get too zoomed out and I can't see the big picture anymore. And then I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels. And that's when I get stuck in like this rut of like the same old crap. I'm trying to keep it PG. And I think that's really where I am. And so I would offer the encouragement. I'm saying this to myself too. If you happen to be built like me, maybe take some time and zoom out. That's what I need to do. I know I need to do that. I need to take some time and zoom out. Even we have projects that we're working on constantly in the background that you guys probably don't see all the time. But I mean, we know where it's going. We know big picture. And sometimes when we get caught up too much in the small menial tasks, that's when I get bored and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be part of this. Let's just reevaluate. Maybe I'll ask the Lord again, like, really, is this for me? And then he'll remind me of that big picture. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Just sometimes it's hard to be on the journey. And you know what? I don't want to pretend like it's not hard to be on the journey. I think even if you're like a present person, like if you are built for the present, which is also very needed, I would imagine that the journey gets exhausting sometimes, even when you like really love the journey, right? When that's your natural bent. So I don't know if this is actually hope infusing or not, but I'm just kind of speaking to myself. I need to get back to who I am, get back to the things that I know I'm called to, the purpose that I know that I have, and then look at the path in between as opposed to only staring at my feet with every step that I take.
Yeah, it's important to not, I do think it's very important to not get stuck, in patterns, to not get stuck in loops. And, not too terribly long ago, we had the crossover of the Jewish New Year. And I like whether it's the Jewish New Year or the American Western Gregorian New Year, I think those are moments, even changes in season, beginnings of months, like those are times to evaluate, like, okay, like this is what I did last month. Is that what I want to do this month? Or this is what I was doing a year ago. Do I want to continue doing that? And I just think that there's hope for the future when there's hope that you're not stuck where you are. And I think the first part of being not stuck where you are is knowing where you are and knowing where you want to go. And then you can start taking steps and start changing. And in a way, you start co-creating the life that you want, because you are consciously like, that's the life I want, and I'm going to take a small step towards it. And sometimes, like you're talking about, if you see the end goal, it's really hard to get stuck in the day to day, but you got to go through the day to day to get to the end goal. But you have to go through the day to day intentionally. And I think there's hope in that. Like if you can zoom out enough to see the big picture and then zoom in enough to be intentional with your days, like the big goal is achievable. Then you can chunk it down to a size that it's achievable, that you can eat it every day. And there's grace for every day. And that doesn't mean that the day to day is not hard. I think about like the Bible when it says count it all joy when you go through trials. Like there's it's like promise that there's going to be stuff that's hard. Like that's just part of life. And so you can go through that knowing that there's purpose in it, knowing that there's refining in it, knowing that you can get back up and move forward.
That's so good. That's super good. It's funny we're talking about this. This was, we only just decided right before we started recording that we're talking about this, but this morning, just in full transparency, I got up and helped my daughter get ready for school. Everybody left the house. And then I went to go get myself ready. And I spent a good 25 minutes just laying on my bed going, I can just stay here all day.
Get it?
And I had a moment where I had to like have that internal dialogue and that conversation with myself going, no, you have things planned. You have things you need to do. You also have life to live,
Mm.
you know? And I think as mystical and spiritual and so very mature that we all like to be, like so far advanced, right? In reality, I think those days still come, you know? And again, trying to be PG, crap will pull you down sometimes,
Yeah.
right? And it sucks. But I think that it's it's so very important to remember where you're going and remember what is propelling you forward, right?
Mm.
There is purpose behind everything that you're doing. And if you're taking a step and you don't know the purpose, seek it out. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I was reminded of like, I don't know what number most famous scripture this is, but Jeremiah 29:11.
Mhm.
Everybody knows it, right?
Mhm.
For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for well, this version says plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Right? So there's that thing behind you that is pushing you for a future and a hope.
Mm.
So even when it's hard to get out of bed, I think if you can just remind yourself that there's that thing that is backing you up, you know, to keep moving forward. I guess that's my little nugget and takeaway. I hope that sounds hopeful.
I think it does. And one of the things you touched on was like your self-talk.
Hmm.
And I just recently saw a video of this scientist talking about how for the majority of people, 70% of their self-talk is negative, 70% of their thoughts are negative.
Oh, I believe that.
And so then they started doing this study with self-talk and were analyzing what made the bigger difference, reducing self-talk or increasing positive thoughts. And they found that just even if you did nothing to remove the negativity in your thoughts, just adding some positive thoughts was like way outweighed them.
Hmm.
And so it's, I don't remember exactly what the ratio is, but it's like something along the lines of like one positive thought is worth 10 negative thoughts or something. It's way outweighed it. And so I think that that's like for me something that's been on my mind lately is like, yes, it's still beneficial to work on reducing the negative thoughts. But if I'm just intentional about having positive thoughts, especially like gratitude and love, like just walking outside and being like, wow, it's really nice. Like, oh, did you see that butterfly? Like having a positive thought, having a thought of gratitude can do so much to outweigh the negative. And it can shift your energy. Like you can change your emotions. There was another thing I heard that said chemically, when you have an emotion, there's something that fires in your brain, produces a chemical, and you feel this emotion. That chemical lasts about 90 seconds. And if you stay in that emotion longer than that, then that's you choosing to hold on to that thought.
Hmm.
And so it's like it's to me it's like kind of empowering because I'm like, oh, I can choose to produce happy chemicals by even if I don't really feel happy, if I just start being grateful for something, if I start being positive about the future, even just a couple times a day, it will start to have an impact on my overall state. And I think that's worth paying attention to.
think so too. It makes me wonder if simply having the positive thought, like if it's a 10 to 1, how much it outweighs a negative thought, right? What if it was spoken out loud? Because the power of life and death is in the tongue, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also from scripture. Look at us quoting scripture today, Josh.
We're doing so good.
Sometimes it happens, you guys. But if the power of life and death is in the tongue, I wonder, like, I don't know, mentally, emotionally, cognitively, whatever, physiologically, what is the difference in the impact with that? Not only just thinking it, but saying it. Because also, how often are we willing to say negative things about ourselves? We were working all morning on some stuff, and I had a whole lot of negative self-talk. And I
A
had to
couple
correct
times.
myself like multiple times. I did it, right? I think I corrected myself,
Yeah.
but still it came out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me wonder, like, if you even take that one step further. People talk about the power of affirmations all the time. But if you can take that one step further, like oh man, I don't want to get out of bed. And like say out loud, no, there's life in today. I'm getting up.
Mm.
You know?
I think one of the benefits of saying things out loud is that it brings the rest of your parts into that frequency. Like you can have a thought and your mind, will, and emotions, your soul, your spirit are in tune with it, but it doesn't necessarily mean your body is.
True.
Speaking something out loud, hearing yourself say a positive thing brings all of you into that.
I think
And it's
that's true.
really hard to stand in front of the mirror and say, I love you. You're beautiful. Like it's hard to do that with a negative like face and negative emotions. Like if you just did that a couple times a day, like you will see a difference in how you respond because it's like your body's like, "Oh, he likes me." Like, there's I think that it's powerful to bring all your parts in line with that.
Oh, that's fun. You know what that makes me think of? Um, what was it called? Oh, Stuart Smalley. This was from the 90s. This is like way back on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you remember the recurring skit where the guy would sit. His name was Stuart Smalley, played by Al Franken. And he would sit in front of his mirror and he would say, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me. Do you remember that?
I don't, but I love it.
I love it too. And I'm like, that's the easiest affirmation. I just need to do that. Let me start there.
I think that's great. Yeah, I think that's really good. There was I was listening to a scientist talk about rewiring your neural pathways.
Hmm.
He said one of the very easiest things you can do is to brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand.
Why would I do that?
To brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand, and while you're doing it, look yourself in the eye in the mirror and say, "I love you." Um,
Both of those things seem very difficult, not just emotionally, I mean, physically.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that you would necessarily say it out loud while you're brushing your teeth. You could maybe in between like what you're doing.
Oh,
But he's like, if you want to rewire your neural pathways, doing something with your non-dominant side while affirming that um, is one of the quickest ways you can rewire your brain. And so I tried it a little bit and it's challenging. Like it's a little bit tough to do that.
probably because you have to actually think about what you're doing with your non-dominant hand.
You do. It's
Like
very
it's not so
conscious.
menial,
Yeah,
right?
it's not on autopilot.
Yeah. Hmm. That's interesting. I still think it would be difficult to say things with the toothbrush in your mouth.
Definitely agree.
Sometimes my daughter tries to do this, and I'm just like, you're just going to have to wait. Let's have this conversation in 2 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I agree. I think there is something, even if you didn't say it out loud, like thinking I love you while you're doing that, there's something with the non-dominant side of your brain while putting love in there that helps that. And it's yeah, I would love for people to try it and let us know what your thoughts are. Like, we're just trying to infuse some hope today.
It's true. Okay, I'll try it. I'm going to try it and I'm going to talk about it on Discord. How about that?
Perfect.
Okay, if you didn't know, you can join our Discord and have open, friendly, weird conversations with us.
Yeah. Also, this episode is going to air right after we've had our um, first book club. So we've gotten together and we've picked a book to read, and we're going to read 2 chapters a week and do a little live get together on Discord and just chat about it. So if you're interested in that, join the Discord, look for the book club tab. You can there's a link to purchase the book, and it's not too late to jump into this with us. It's probably we're gonna take a break for a little bit in November, and we're hoping to wrap up right before Christmas so that we can enjoy the holidays with our families. So this will be a couple month project, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so too. And it's kind of like low key, not difficult. Right. So this is not like 20 pages a day. This is 2 chapters a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then a quick conversation about it. Like, share your thoughts. Dig into the weird stuff if you want to. Like, this is kind of my favorite thing. And I think we can shout out like what book we're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So we're doing Eve by William Paul Young. Yeah, William Paul. Like WM. I assume that's William Paul Young.
Sure it is. Yeah.
Same author as The Shack, which I've also not read. You can talk to me about that in the comments. But Eve, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it'll be really good. So I hope to see some people join us in the Discord. Maybe you've read the book, maybe you haven't, but we'd love for you to step into that. We're just trying to give a little bit of extra community-ness to what we're doing and a little more interaction, and that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, I love community-ness.
Me too.
Oh, you guys, thanks for joining today. We'll see you next time.
See ya. Thank you for sticking around. Listen for new episodes every Monday and Thursday. Find us on all social media platforms by searching for Market Mystics. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Visit upperroomcd.com, where you can find more information about the hosts, projects, and guests. Go deeper by booking a coaching appointment focused on redefining identity and wealth in your life. See you next time.